Forget all you believe you knew about Claressa Shields' picture-perfect engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, beneath the sparkling ring and happy pictures, there was a tidal wave of treachery, covert transactions, and receipts so disorganized that they may wipe out a whole career. And that was Papoose, the man with those receipts. Furthermore, he isn't holding back this time. Papoose played the obedient, quiet character in the background for years, maintaining a spotless reputation. Rumors from within the industry, however, indicate that the rapper has finally had enough of being portrayed as the unimportant ex. He's reportedly preparing to vent about Claressa and her adored fiancé. Everything we're discussing. Hush-hush money, dubious late-night rendezvous, and seductive communications that somehow went awry. Email, this isn't only about a failed romance, according to Papoose. The plot revolves around a planned move to remove him from the business, while concealing a fiancé's most sinister secrets. Whether Claressa's empire will endure when Papoose finally pulls the trigger is the only question left, or will this be a knockout that is far worse than anything she has ever witnessed in the ring? Gloves off, ladies and gentlemen. Furthermore, this sparring bout is not friendly. In the court of public opinion, it is a complete and utter demolition. For months, Papoose remained mute while rumors circulated and gossip blogs spun their own tales about Claressa Shields. But now he's turning the tables and ripping down the meticulously manicured photo and removing receipts that, if authentic, could make Claressa's story of the golden couple into a major scandal. What insiders refer to as a silent setup is where it all begins. One industry insider, who we'll call Tama, is a long-standing public relations assistant who says she has worked with both Papoose and Claressa's fiancé. She says the friction didn't start after the split. No. Tamika claims that this drama was developing for a long time before anyone realized that Paradise was in danger. Always in the background was him. According to an anonymous blogger, Tamika said, they gave Papoose the impression that he was welcome, but unintentionally. Meetings that he was meant to attend would be rescheduled without him. Phone calls would take place. It felt like someone was being gradually erased. If you accept Papoose's version of events, that eraser wasn't a coincidence. He said Claressa's fiancé had been quietly trying to gain access to the relationships Papoose had developed over the years. Promoters, media producers, and music contacts all claim to be supporting Claressa's brand. This is where things go from being trivial to being downright evil, though. In private group discussions, stolen screenshots purport that Claressa's fiancé emailed a business associate to ensure that Papoose's name was removed from guest lists. Ouch. The same messages continue. If he's constantly in the picture, we can't build her empire. I focus on winning, not whining. And you can't block blessings meant for me, Claressa said in cryptic Instagram captions, publicly dismissing the claims. However, behind the scenes, things are becoming more repulsive. Email chains, call logs, and even an unintentional voice memo that demonstrates intentional attempts to bar Papoose from performances, interviews, and events are all evidence that his camp claims to have. An Atlanta charity boxing show is one reported example. He was invited months in advance, according to Papoose, but his place was inexplicably transferred to, you guessed it, Claressa's fiancé. The fiancée, Claressa, no. The worst thing is that Papoose claims he was unaware of the scheduling change until pictures from the event began to surface online. When asked, organizers admitted they were informed Papoose is not available, but we've got someone better, and Claressa's fiancé is in the spotlight smooching in those pictures. Papoose had known them for more than 10 years. You may be asking yourself, why didn't Papoose say something sooner? He tried, but whenever he voiced his opinions in private, they were always framed as jealousy or insecurity. According to another unnamed insider, they portrayed him as a resentful ex before he was even the ex. By the time the split became public, the story was already working against him, according to the insider. However, since this goes beyond social rejection or wounded sentiments, this is when things become very sticky. Should the accusations prove to be accurate, Claressa's fiancé may have stepped over the line into what would be regarded as career sabotage. And that's the role of attorneys. Papoose's legal team has allegedly been going over correspondence and documents to ascertain whether they are able to file a lawsuit for tortious interference, which is a fancy word for willfully harming someone's business connections. Claressa's team may face a public relations nightmare simply by filing, even if those cases are infamously difficult to win. Oh, and the internet is consuming this. Hashtags are at war on Twitter. Hashtag knockout drama, hashtag pap science, and the ruthlessly trivial hashtag from rings to receipts, although some fans are dubious, pointing out that Papoose's career hasn't exactly been booming in recent years. Even without alleged sabotage, TikTok creators are reenacting the purported text messages, complete with dramatic background music and captions like, "When your girl's man steals your career." One comment that goes beyond 5,000 shares. "He's acting like he was headlining Madison Square Garden every weekend. Maybe he just fell off." But those who criticize him acknowledge, if the receipts are real, Claressa and her fiancé are in trouble. Not just trouble, but the kind of brand-destroying scandal that sponsors run from faster than a bad investment, adding fuel to the fire. An unverified, but juicy rumor claims that Claressa's fiancé has his own skeletons, and that Papoose is holding back the dirtiest details for maximum impact, allegedly. These bombshells involve questionable financial dealings, a side relationship that overlaps with his engagement, and one incident that could even have legal implications, the way Papoose sees it. According to his camp, this isn't about petty revenge. It's about protecting oneself, Papoose stated in a recent freestyle. Yes, he dropped lines about it, adding, "I remained silent while you crafted your story. It is now my turn. We'll see what you have. Truth in my palm, receipts in my pocket." A major sit-down interview that Papoose is allegedly negotiating with a top gossip channel is rumored to be the source of the real fight and the most juicy revelations. If that happens, Claressa herself may have to answer some uncomfortable questions about what she knew and when she knew it. Time to show the world you're a fraudulent man. That clip alone garnered over 3 million views in just 48 hours. And if what we're hearing about round 2 is accurate, the next chapter of this saga will make this seem like child's play. And that's where the storyline takes a sharp soap opera level twist. Just when people thought Papoose's sit-down interview would be the main event, another leak appeared online. And this time it wasn't from his camp, rather. It came from an anonymous Dropbox link posted on a shady gossip forum at 2 a.m. After all, this isn't just about a broken relationship. It's about power, manipulation, and a struggle for industry dominance. Titled simply for Papoose. Within hours, screenshots and videos from the folder began to circulate like wildfire, revealing purportedly private conversations between Claressa's fiancé and a number of industry contacts, some of which portrayed him as a man manipulating not only Papoose, but also a number of other people in the same entertainment and sports circles. One particularly scathing screenshot revealed an email exchange with a Miami promoter, in which Claressa's fiancé wrote, "Papoose's reputation is done. You don't want to associate your brand with him. I promise for the event, I can connect you with better names." What better names? When Twitter users posted that small statement, it quickly became a popular meme: a parking ticket, a rusty bicycle, a loaf of bread, and pictures of odd items with better titles captioned. However, something much more terrible was hidden deeper. Within the leak, an arrangement known as a sponsorship reallocation agreement. Reddit users, who identify as document analysts, claim that the form described how several endorsement arrangements that were first offered with Papoose in mind were changed to focus on Claressa and her fiancé's collaborative branding initiatives. It is unclear if it is a clever fake or real, but the public didn't care. The story was already unfolding itself. Papoose, meanwhile, said nothing about the leak, which was unusual because there were no mysterious Instagram stories, tweets, or even a freestyle verse. The internet was even more convinced that the receipts were authentic, because in a controversy like this, words are frequently not as loud as quiet. The phone call followed, an audio recording purportedly taken during a heated dispute between Claressa's fiancé and an unidentified associate appeared on TikTok. The voice that internet detectives are 99% certain of is that the fiancé says, "Papoose needs to understand that this is our time. I will ruin him if he interferes. No matter what. I'm not interested." That single sentence went viral on all of the gossip blogs, including YouTube, in just 2 days. Hashtags like #ThisTime and #WillRuinHim were popular on all platforms, naturally in an attempt to defend themselves. Claressa's team sent a well-crafted statement that said, "Claressa Shields is totally focused on her forthcoming fights and brand collaborations. She has no role in any claimed private matters pertaining to others. In other words, we're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole." However, the issue with being neutral during a conflict is that both sides begin to suspect that you are secretly working against them. Whatever faith Papoose may have had in Claressa has dissolved, according to people close to him. Her silence, in his opinion, is an admission of collusion. It gets even juicier from here. Papoose has allegedly already planned his own series of leaks, including direct communications between Claressa's fiancé and a lady who is only identified as a well-known figure in the sports industry, according to an unverified rumor. According to rumors, these direct messages raise suspicions about a personal relationship that coincides with his engagement to Claressa. Think about the "if that is the case" headlines. Trapped in a romantic triangle is a people's champion. There is no finer script than yours. In the meantime, fans are acting like detectives. There are Twitter threads with over 40,000 likes that analyze old press images and show sly glances between Claressa's fiancé and unidentified ladies at public gatherings. Images of all the time travels, captions, and side-by-side comparisons of clothes are all over TikTok. The kicker is this, though. Papoose appears unconcerned by any of this conjecture. A friend of a friend who revealed information to a hip-hop podcast claims that Papoose is actually biting his tongue since he is aware that his evidence is more than simply petty drama. It can have repercussions for business, and there are business repercussions in this industry. Tougher than any diss song, the sponsors disappear, revisions are made to contracts, the invitations stop coming. All of a sudden, none of your list. Contacts return your calls. Insiders claim that Papoose has a straightforward approach. Allow the audience to ridicule Claressa's fiancé for the time being. But when he presents his own evidence, make sure it's something that sponsors won't be able to overlook. This will ensure that the financial consequences are indisputable. Regardless of Claressa's efforts to hide them, there's a risk, though, because pulling Claressa's fiancé down too much could harm Claressa as well. Even Pat, who may no longer be concerned about her private life, must acknowledge that ruining her public persona may cause a huge backlash from her devoted following. However, other people think that's precisely what he wants, a total takeover with no survivors. If that is a strategy, the final round, which is part 3 of the story, may be the most vicious yet. Due to rumors that Papoose has already landed a special interview spot on a popular YouTube gossip channel, it's the type of interview when they pull out the laptop, go through never-before-seen evidence in real time, and watch the internet crash. Not only will Claressa's fiancé be perspiring if that occurs, because in conflicts such as these, the explosion radius is never limited to a single target. When rumors of that exclusive interview began to circulate, the countdown to the alleged final round officially began. Insiders are leaking gossip. Yes, according to our own network, the filming location has already been acquired. Everyone in the room has a non-disclosure agreement, a private studio, and several camera angles. Papoose is also reportedly preparing to enter with 2 laptops, one for the evidence, and one as a backup in case there are any unforeseen technological issues. This is because in a conflict like this, no one trusts the Wi-Fi. It seems like the narrative of a scandal-filled Netflix documentary. Based on the leaked list of topics for the interview, first, the vanishing opportunities, which included alleged emails, call logs, and calendar screenshots showing that Claressa's fiancé routinely excluded Papoose from endorsements and events. In the second segment, the side hustles, Papoose is purportedly going to provide evidence of backdoor sponsorship agreements and unreported payments connected to Claressa's business ties. Furthermore, the third segment, the other relationship, is the one for which everyone is already preparing. You're correct. There are rumors that the finale will include the direct messages between Claressa's fiancé and the anonymous sports world official. Not only will it be messy, but they are as incriminating as the rumors indicate. The outcome will be nuclear. Not only that, but according to our source, Papoose is dropping receipts in order to link them to Claressa's public appearances. He is revealing timelines, precise dates, and locations. The level of specificity that renders evasive denials useless. We are discussing a degree of exposure that has the potential to simultaneously and permanently damage to reputations if those dots align on screen. Presently, this isn't only happening when Claressa sits in the corner. A different source claims that her team is frantically trying to prevent the story from being told. They are allegedly thinking of releasing their own counter-story through a sympathetic media outlet before Papoose's interview, something that suggests he is resentful, cunning, and trying to fit in. This is the tough part, though. The public currently has little tolerance for preventative damage control. In the event that Claressa's version is out first, the internet will notice the panic. And in the court of public opinion, panic never wins. In the meantime, Claressa's fiancé has completely lost his mind. No content on social media. No, neither public sightings nor interviews. Absence, however, isn't helping him. Indeed, the longer he remains silent, the more assumptions TikTok investigators make about his whereabouts and what he may be concealing. But behind the scenes, some are anxious. One post went viral, even making the joke, "This man is in witness protection," and the witness is Papoose. Brutal. In Claressa's sphere of influence, as well as in the larger group of business people that have collaborated with her fiancé, the repercussions won't end with one relationship. If Papoose's side projects reveal dubious activities involving sponsors, companies, or event planners, for example, legal audits, partnership dissolutions, and contract terminations are all possible. There's also the nuclear wildcard, a heat wave. Do you recall that tail name from earlier chapters? The sour industry person who allegedly holds a grudge against everyone. He has reportedly been keeping a close eye on things and is reportedly debating whether or not to become involved, according to insiders, if Heat Wave divulges his knowledge. The situation can go beyond Papoose versus Claressa's fiancé and turn into a whole industrial collapse. Now, we can't act like Papoose is a hero already. Some are warning that this scorched earth tactic can backfire. He could come across as spiteful rather than justified if he aims for maximum publicity. Others, however, contend that it is career suicide to allow someone to delete you without a fight in a game where your name is everything. And in that maybe just using a flamethrower to combat fire. This is an indisputable fact. The risks are really substantial in just a few months. Claressa will be fighting again, the sponsors will be observing, fans will be observing, and everything that she or her fiancé does before that interview could make the difference. Time is running out, the audience is salivating for the knockout punch, and the receipts have piled high. Will it be a clean hit when Papoose does land it, or will the shrapnel kill more than just his targeted target? That is the true question. Because this arena lacks officials and rings bells to break up fights, and the headlines and their careers will be all that remain when the lights go out. Barry, if you believed this story was over, ladies and gentlemen, you were mistaken. Because this might be the last vicious swing that leaves no one standing. All of the receipts have been promised by Papoose, while her fiancé is either planning his counterattack or attempting to survive the knockout. That is already underway. Claressa's camp is frantically trying to contain the damage. Claressa's connection and the extent people will go to in order to remove someone from a business they helped create could be completely altered by the evidence that Papoose is said to possess. Here's where you come in. If even half of what insiders are speculating is accurate, we may be facing career-ending disclosures, lost sponsorships, severed alliances, and broken legacies. Do you believe Papoose is a man looking for love, justice, retaliating at last against deliberate sabotage? Or is this a resentful ex who is allowing his feelings to put him in danger? Is Claressa genuinely an innocent person caught in the middle? Or has she been a covert participant in the very plots that destroyed Papoose's career? It's not just gossip, so share your theories here. So, when those computers open in Papoose's big interview, we'll be right here dissecting every frame. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and enable notifications if you want the next episode before the headlines catch up. This goes beyond mere theatrics. This is war, and it may all change with the next shot.